be me, it's gonna be chat, and we're reacting to a video from the one, the only, the homie, Pax W. Paul. We're reacting to a homie Paul. Adventure Time Scariest episode finally solved. Now, I'm gonna tell you one thing, bro. I might tell you a joke. I'll never tell you a lie, chat. I already talked about it in the last video. I am a scary guy, bro. I get scared very easily. I will be lying to you if I said I watched every Adventure Time episode. I specifically skipped scary episodes of Adventure Time because it was too much for me, bro. So let's figure out what the scariest episode of Adventure Time was actually holding, man.
A kid's show. Adventure Time wasn't just a kid's show. Behind its candy-colored exterior lurked some of the most disturbing concepts ever smuggled into children's entertainment. But one episode stands above the rest in pure psychological horror. No one can hear you. You know, the episode where a deer takes off
I was just trying to scare y'all. I was trying to scare y'all. My fault.
Hooves to reveal human hands. Something about this episode just feels off. It doesn't just scare you, it lingers. The unease doesn't come from a simple spooky monster, even though the deer is pretty spooky, or any jump scares.
No. Scary ass deer. If I saw that outside in my window at night, I'm asking the nearest Caucasian person I know to do what they do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie.
No, there's something deeper at play here. A hidden meaning beneath the madness. After breaking down every frame, analyzing every symbol, and revisiting what led up to this episode, I think I've finally figured out what makes No One Can Hear You so uniquely unsettling.
That's the perfect way to say it, Curse. It just had some bad juju when you was little. Like, something about it felt off, man.
And the answer isn't just about a creepy deer or Jake acting weird. It's something far more personal, something we've all experienced. First, let me give you a little episode of recap to get you caught up. The episode begins in the Candy Kingdom, where a wild deer is causing havoc, licking the faces of the candy people. But this isn't your typical monster attack. It's actually something much more unsettling. Finn and Jake charge in to handle the situation, but things go south pretty fast. Jake is thrown off and kicked in the head. Now, I want you to remember the animation style as Jake gets kicked in the head, and notice that it's in the deer's stride. It's not an actual targeted attack, when Finn's, however, is. Finn does last longer.
Why they draw his legs like that? Why they draw
on the
like
deer,
that?
But the deer brutally stomps on his legs, breaking them completely. Then, as if that weren't enough, it throws him against a building until he loses consciousness. Again, the animation style here, we see the lines coming off Finn's head to show his impact against the building. Very intentional choice is made here. But what follows is even stranger. Finn wakes up in a hospital bed, both legs in casts, and he calls out for Dr. Ice Cream, but no one responds. The entire hospital is abandoned.
I'm scared. Yo, I'm scared, chat. Hold on, lock in with me. Hold on, bro. Get close to me, bro. I'm worried. Hold on, I'm scared.
And determined despite his condition, Finn gets himself into a wheelchair and ventures outside, only to discover that the entire Candy Kingdom is completely deserted. The streets are empty. When have we ever seen this before? Off the bat, something is up. However, he does find Jake, digging through trash, rambling about how the candy people are
Why is his eyes doing that?
just hiding for a surprise party he's been waiting for 6 months? We'll get to the 6 months part, but Jake isn't the reliable best friend Finn knows. He's delusional. This isn't just played for horror. Jake's behavior feels wrong on a fundamental level. And the deeper we go into this episode, the more obvious it becomes. Something is terribly off, but it's not just the deer or the missing candy people. Jake's behavior, Finn's injuries, the surreal sense of time passing, the bizarre dreamlike logic of the world.
Why did they just... Oh my gosh, bro. Ew, bro. Ew. Oh my gosh, bro. That nigga live in New Jersey, bro. Oh my gosh, bro. That shit's so gross, bro. That nigga in Baltimore.
World, it's all pointing to something, but what? As the episode progresses, Finn and Jake sit by a fire, eating hot dogs Jake salvaged from the trash, charring off the rotten parts to make them edible. Finn finally voices his concerns about the missing candy people, and Jake's response? Aggressive, violent. He grows enormous, looms over Finn, and demands that he not ruin the surprise. And here's where things get weird. Jake drops the knowledge that he's been waiting 6 months for this party, and Finn has no memory of this time passing. But the moment that seals the deal here here is when bugs crawl out of Jake's ears as he laughs. At this point, something clicks. Jake isn't just acting strange, Jake actually represents something. In fact, this entire situation represents something. And when Finn finally makes his way to the sewer and finds the candy people trapped, weakly whispering in the darkness, the truth starts to take shape. He finds out who did all this, and it was in fact the deer from the very beginning. And then the most memorable part of this episode happens. The deer takes off his hooves to reveal human hands underneath. What does all this mean? Because this isn't just random weirdness. This is the key to understanding everything. No One Can Hear You isn't just a horror episode. It's a Finn coma dream depicting his internal struggle with letting go of his childhood and growing up. Now I know what you're thinking, coma theory, how lazy, but it's not one of those. Finn's injuries, the missing candy people, Jake's obsession with a surprise party, the deer's horrifying reveal. I'll explain it all. First and foremost, why is Finn having trouble letting go of his childhood and growing up? Well, it all starts by what happened 10 episodes earlier in Too Young. Remember that episode? Princess Bubblegum, after being temporarily de-aged, finally gives Finn what he's always wanted, a relationship. They go on dates, they kiss, everything seems perfect. But then, the moment Finn feared most happens. PB grows back to her normal age, and just like that, everything changes.
Wait, how old was she? How much older was PB than Finn? Is it like crazy? Is she like 1,000 and something? Like, is it one of those princess stories? Like, old gum don't even taste good anyways, bro. You're not missing out on nothing, bro.
She looks at Finn, at the same boy she just kissed just moments ago, and suddenly he's not a romantic option anymore. He's just a kid. I mean, the heartbreak on Finn's face says it all. But Too Young doesn't show us what happens next inside Finn's mind. It doesn't explore how this moment reshapes his understanding of himself, of love, of growing up. That's what No One Can Hear You is. It's not just a standalone horror episode. It's Finn's subconscious trying to process what just happened to him. And once you see it through this lens, everything in this episode starts making perfect chilling sense. Jake, Finn's best friend, his guide, the one person he always relies on, spends this entire episode acting completely insane. Now you might be saying that's because of his head injury. I mean, we obviously see bandages over his head, and he's constantly saying ouchies while touching his head throughout the entire episode. But remember in the beginning when I told you to remember the animation style of their two injuries? Jake's is much more deliberately shown in a way that his injury was not near as bad as Finn's was. Yes, he does get kicked, but it's in the stride of the deer. It's not a targeted attack. And when Finn gets thrown up against the tree, we see the animation coming off of his head to show that he got hit pretty hard. That's why I don't think Jake is acting insane because of his head injury. I think the only reason he has a head injury is Finn's subconscious projecting that onto Jake. Now, what if I told you that Jake's behavior in this episode isn't just random? What if it's symbolic? Jake isn't just Finn's goofy best friend in this episode like we've stated before. Jake represents Finn's childhood itself. And suddenly, his delusions start to make perfect sense. The 6-month wait for a surprise party? That's Finn's subconscious clinging to the idea that childhood is still waiting for him. That something magical will come along and make things the way they were.
Dang, okay, hold on. He's making it deep. You wrapped it in a deep bow. Hold on.
Before. The aggressive, even violent reaction when Finn questions the party, that's what happens when we resist change. Childhood doesn't just fade away peacefully, it fights. It refuses to accept reality. And then, the most unsettling part, the bugs crawling from Jake's ear. This is one of the most overlooked details in the entire episode.
No, I promise it's not overlooked. You just have to stop playing that part. You literally have to stop playing that part. You literally need to stop putting that part on my screen. Oh my gosh, bro. If I see that part one more time, I'm gonna end the reaction. I'm not gonna lie, bro. It feels, bro. Bro. If I see that part one more time, I end the reaction. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
But when you think about it, it's pretty horrifying. The image of something crawling inside his head, it's a grotesque physical representation of something that has been rotting inside Finn's mind. Because refusing to grow doesn't just hold you back, it decays you. At this point in the episode, Finn finally realizes where everybody might be, because he hears whispers coming from the sewer. It's a moment of realization, his subconscious guiding him toward the truth. And he tries to act on it. He pushes himself forward, determined to investigate, determined to escape, but just as he's about to make it, Jake stops him. Jake doesn't just hold him back, he becomes aggressive, vicious, dangerous. This is crucial because if Jake represents Finn's childhood self, then this moment means one thing. Childhood doesn't just let you leave, it fights back. And in that fight, Finn loses. He wakes up again, but this time tied to a post. And that's when he sees it. Jake sitting across from him, playing with puppets, trash and marionette dolls arranged in a mock birthday party, a fake version of the Candy Kingdom, a forced illusion to keep Finn from seeing the truth. And here's what makes this moment so deeply disturbing. disturbing. Jake isn't just distracting Finn, he's rewriting reality itself. Because childhood, when pushed to its limits, doesn't just resist change, it actively replaces reality with fantasy. It pretends that nothing is wrong. Jake, completely lost in his delusion, wants Finn to stay here forever. Because if Finn stays here, playing along, he never has to grow up. But Finn knows better. This isn't real, this isn't where he belongs. So he does something incredibly important. For the first time in this episode, he outsmarts Jake. Finn pretends to go along with the illusion. He tells Jake,
"You won't run away?"
Nah, man, I'm with you. Happy birthday, Jake. Really?
Jake, believing him, unties him. And then, the moment childhood loses its grip, Finn immediately runs for the sewer. This is the first major sign that Finn is starting to accept growing up, because Finn realizes something crucial. His childhood self, Jake, isn't just delusional, he's easily tricked, easily outsmarted. And that means childhood isn't some unbeatable force holding him back, it's something he can outgrow. Just when Finn thinks he's escaped, Jake actually shows up in the sewer too. But the unsettling part about this is, even when Jake's down there, surrounded by trapped and terrified candy people, Jake is still in denial. He looks around at the horrific scene unfolding before him. Candy people weakly moaning, glued to the walls. And he still believes they're here for his birthday party. This is Jake at his most delusional. And more importantly, this is Finn's childhood mindset refusing to let go one last time. Even when the truth is right.
Dang, bro, Finn, just grow up, bro. Bills aren't that bad. Bills aren't that bad, bro. I know we in a recession, and I know things is looking wacky, bro. But yeah, just grow like, man. You feel what I'm saying, bro? Finn, bro, let it go, bro. Dang, I'm not gonna lie. For me, I never had that big of a problem. I feel like growing up from my childhood, but that might be because like childhood wasn't like necessarily something I was either trying to hold on to either. I feel like it's most of the, like, you know what I'm saying? Like now that we're at this point in the video, I actually think most childhoods are a smooth transition into like adulthood. I think outside of college, it is a little bit jarring to do your stuff for the first time, like pay taxes. But other than that, I don't think people struggle with it as much as if what he's illustrating in this video, what he's trying to get across, I don't feel like much people struggle with it that often. But I could be dumb. There is a lot of non-contributing adults to society. But yeah.
In front of him, Finn's subconscious, his old self, still clings to the fantasy, but Finn has finally had enough.
My childhood don't know what smooth is. I'm praying for you, bro.
He turns to Jake, and in an act of pure desperation, he punches him. And finally, Jake snaps out of it. In this moment, this is the breakthrough. Finn has spent this entire episode fighting against the idea of growing up, trapped in a surreal nightmare where his childhood self, Jake, has kept him stuck in place. But here, in this moment, he realizes something profound. He doesn't have to destroy his childhood to move forward. He doesn't have to abandon it. He just has to accept reality. And that's exactly what happens. Because from this point on, Finn and Jake work together to fight the deer. And just think about that. Before this moment, Jake had been the very thing holding Finn back, clinging to childhood, resisting change. But now, they fight together. So, Finn and Jake finally working together face the true horror of the episode, the deer. We all remember the reveal, the slow rise onto its hind legs, the disturbing unnatural movement, and then it lifts its front hooves and removes them like gloves, revealing human hands. For a lot of people, including me when I first watched the episode, this is definitely where the horror peaks. What if I told you this moment isn't just disturbing, it's the key to everything? Because this is the moment Finn sees the world differently. The deer removing its hooves symbolizes Finn's growing understanding of reality. In childhood, everything is simple. Good guys and bad guys, heroes and villains, right and wrong. But growing up means realizing the world isn't that simple. Things aren't always what they seem.
What was you doing in them capes?
And wrong, but growing up means realizing the world isn't that simple. Things aren't.
I'm gonna let it slide, Finn, because I fought with Jake. I'm gonna let that slide, man.
Always what they seem. The deer taking off its hooves is Finn's mind finally accepting this terrifying truth. And what happens next? Like we said, he doesn't fight alone. Now Jake is fighting by his side, and together they defeat the deer, and then they throw it down the sewer. But listen closely, because the sound effect is a toilet flushing. Now, yes, you could chalk this up to it just being an Adventure Time gag, but I believe this is intentional. The deer represented Finn's fear of growing up, his terror at confronting change, his subconscious fighting to keep him in a childlike mindset. And now, with both parts of himself aligned, he's able to let that fear go. But the way they dispose of the deer still matters. They flush it away. Not kill it, not destroy it, just flush it. Because Finn's fear of growing up isn't truly gone. It's just circulating beneath the surface, ready to resurface in different forms as he continues to grow. And that's actually exactly what happens. The deer keeps coming back in later episodes, always in a different form. In season 4, episode 15, Son of Mars, the deer gets...
I love when theories channels start doing this, where they start putting, like, it's like they finishing the cake. And it's like you think they finna put a little bit of icing on it, but they really start putting icy all around that joint, bro. That's what this feels like, bro.
Transformed into a telescope to observe a comet, different form. In season 8, episode 7, Normal Man. It's the same deer telescope, but in this episode, we see Magic Man as Normal Man. Even though he transformed to Normal Man from Magic Man back in season 6 in the episode We Forgot Your Floaties, still different form. Magic Man transforms into a different form as Normal Man. And then finally, in season 9, episode 8, Hero of Heart, when the deer gets transformed into a candy person. Again, a different form. Because just like in real life, the fears of childhood never truly vanish. They transform, they resurface, and just like Finn, we don't defeat them at once. We face them over and over again, each time with a new level of understanding. That's why no one can hear you lingers. Because deep down, we all know what Finn was going through, and we've all been there before. Now, I did leave out PB's message to Finn.
The deer wanted our sugar, but I didn't give him any, if you know what I mean.
Didn't really know what that meant, but if you do, please let me know in the comments. However, No One Can Hear You is just one piece of Adventure Time's hidden depths. But if you really want to understand the deeper meanings behind the show's wildest episodes, you need to see how it all connects. In this video, I break...
Hey man, W video, man. If you guys enjoyed that video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe down below. Check out me and Yo's collab channel, SXY. And oh my gosh, if that roast would have popped up one more time, this whole thing would have been over. I love y'all. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Goodbye.